In June of 2025, Los Angeles has become the epicenter of a series of escalating protests that have captured national and international attention. What began as a peaceful demonstration in response to new federal immigration enforcement actions has, snowballed into a larger movement encompassing issues of civil rights, police accountability, and socioeconomic inequality. The presence of federal agents, deployment of the National Guard, and images of unrest on social media have really amplified tensions and ignited debates about the role of law enforcement and the rights of protesters. This script explores the origins, dynamics, and implications of the LA protests, contextualizing them within broader national conversations. On May 30, 2025, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents launched coordinated raids across several neighborhoods in Los Angeles, targeting undocumented immigrants for expedited removal. These raids were part of a broader federal policy shift aimed at accelerating deportations and increasing border security. However, the tactics used, early morning arrests, limited transparency, and reports of mistaken detentions, sparked outrage among residents, activists, and civil rights groups. Community leaders swiftly organized protests, citing not only the aggressive nature of the raids but also their impact on families and local economies. What began as a protest against immigration raids quickly evolved. By June 2nd, thousands had gathered outside LA City Hall, holding signs that read, "No human is illegal, abolish ICE, and justice for all." The demonstrations grew daily, fueled by viral videos of forceful ICE arrests and emotional testimonies from affected families. Activist organizations such as CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, and student groups from USC and UCLA joined the protests, expanding their demands to include broader calls for police reform, housing justice, and protection of marginalized communities. Tensions escalated on June 5th, when a clash between protesters and law enforcement near MacArthur Park led to multiple injuries and arrests. Footage of tear gas, rubber bullets, and kettling tactics reignited memories of the 2020 George Floyd protests and further galvanized public participation. In response to the growing unrest, the federal government deployed National Guard troops to assist local law enforcement in maintaining order. The decision, authorized by President Richard Halverson, was framed as necessary to prevent property damage and ensure public safety. However, critics argue that the presence of military personnel on city streets only exacerbated tensions. The media played a critical role in shaping public understanding of the protests. While mainstream outlets such as CNN and the Los Angeles Times provided detailed coverage of both peaceful protests and violent clashes, conservative media often emphasized incidents of looting and property damage. Social media became a battleground of narratives, with hashtags like #LayRising, #NoICinLA, and #DefendDignity trending nationwide. Live streams from the protests attracted millions of viewers, while misinformation also spread rapidly, including false claims about protester affiliations and intentions. Beyond the immediate trigger of the ICE raids, the protests in Los Angeles reflect deeper systemic issues. LA has long grappled with stark economic inequality, racial segregation, housing shortages, and tensions between law enforcement and minority communities. Many protesters see the current movement as a continuation of past struggles, including the 1992 LA riots, the 2006 immigrant rights marches, and the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests. The demands being made today, ranging from defunding ICE and reallocating police budgets to investing in affordable housing and community healthcare, are rooted in decades of advocacy and frustration. As the protests continue, Los Angeles city officials are under immense pressure to respond. In early June, the City Council passed a resolution condemning the ICE raids and calling for a moratorium on federal immigration enforcement within city limits. The resolution, while symbolic, was seen as a gesture of solidarity with protesters. The LA protests have reverberated beyond California. Cities like Chicago, New York, and Seattle have seen solidarity marches. Internationally, human rights organizations have expressed concern over U.S. immigration practices and police militarization. Interviews with protesters reveal a diverse set of motivations. Maria Hernandez, a 19-year-old UCLA student, says she joined the protest after her neighbor was detained in an ICE raid. She says, "He was a father of two, worked 2 jobs, and had no criminal record. We're not just fighting for him, we're fighting for our future." David Cho, a Korean-American small business owner, emphasized solidarity, saying, "What affects one community affects us all. I may not be undocumented, but I know what it feels like to be targeted." Officers, too, have voiced internal tensions. One LAPD sergeant, speaking anonymously, said, "Morale is low. Some of us don't agree with how things are being handled, but orders come from the top." The protests in Los Angeles are not just a reaction, they are a reckoning. They reflect deep-rooted issues in American society that honestly cannot be solved by law enforcement alone. As the city navigates this crisis, the choices made by officials, activists, and residents will shape the future of civil liberties, community safety, and democratic engagement. Whether these protests lead to lasting change or become another chapter in a long history of unrest remains to be seen. What is clear, however, is that the people of Los Angeles are demanding to be heard, and the world is listening.